Hello and welcome back to the 8th episode of the Rite of 433, in which we will explore the relationship between science and music. After discussing many different topics in the previous 7 episodes of the podcast, if we needed to decide which characteristic of the 20th century is most significant, it would have to be the tremendous advancement of science and technology. Science has directly affected all of human activity, and art is no exception. We have seen that the art in this period has become somewhat anti-romantic, leaning more heavily towards experimentation and exploration. The main goal of its pursuit is the truth, not necessarily beauty, not unlike what we might find in science. All of this has alienated some of the audiences, which has grown accustomed to more traditional, more listenable types of music expression. It's not all great, that's for sure. The speed and force of all the constant changes have not left enough time to really listen, stop and think about the changes surrounding us. Artists, due to their extreme sensitivity, of which I was personally accused directly numerous times, have to find different ways of reacting to their immediate environment. So the audience, even to this day, still finds it hard to come to terms with some of the pieces which were created in this period, perhaps because it truthfully mirrors the world which we don't necessarily want to face. Traditional opinions and actions have less value. Freedom is paramount. It has opened up an entire new world to generations of artists, but this all, as we have seen, has also come at a very large price. The scientific developments of the early 20th century brought a lot of brand new insight into the world. Prior to this, the environment was seen as a well-oiled machine, working on a firmly set and unchangeable principles. The biggest paradigm shift came at the very beginning of the 20th century. First, Planck's quantum theory of 1900 broke the previously held belief that all natural phenomena occur in a linear timeline or a continuum. It was followed by an even bigger shock with Einstein's theory of relativity, in which time and space are not really absolute. It is interesting to note that both Planck and Einstein were very good amateur musicians. Another great theory was Heisenberg's indeterminacy principle, which stated that processes in the invisible world of atoms cannot be fully and certainly described. Here we can perhaps find the source of John Cage's indeterminacy principle in music composition, which made an appearance later in the 20th century. One of the main innovations was the development of film. It is truly the authentic art form of the 20th century, made possible by all the most significant technological innovations of that time. It is an art form which brilliantly connects practically all other forms of artistic expression, most notably music. So to end this brief episode, we have a very early example of magnificent film music. This type of music does not have a preset form, since it is directly connected with what is going on the screen. This has also opened up a whole new world of possibilities for generations of contemporary composers. Many greats have composed film scores, including Benjamin Britten and Dmitri Shostakovich, both already featured in this podcast. But one of the early great film composers was Arthur Honegger, Milhaud's colleague from the Great Six of Paris's early 20th century. In his orchestral work, Pacific 231, from 1923, Honegger depicts the full force of the steam locomotive as it furiously accelerates and then again gradually decelerates as it approaches the next train station. It is a wonderful early example of combining scientific innovation and art, and another of my personal favorites. Thank you once again for listening, and see you in the penultimate episode of the first series of the Rite of 433.